have in my hands the Samsung Galaxy A56 and the Samsung Galaxy A36, Samsung's newest mid-range phones. They look similar and they share similar features, and they were both released this year. But what sets them apart from other mid-range devices that Samsung has introduced, and what sets them apart from each other? Without further ado, let's dive into the details. Unboxing both these devices, you get pretty much the same experience. We'll focus on the A56 for now. When you open the box, the first thing you'll notice is the phone itself, protected by a white film. The upper section of the box contains a compartment with most of the essential items that Samsung provides. Inside, you get a SIM ejector tool, Type-C to Type-C charging cable, a quick start guide, and that's all that's in the box. So you may want to get other essentials that you need separately. And just like I said, the unboxing experience is pretty much the same for the A36. Now, when it comes to design of both these phones, you are pretty much getting the same things with only some differences, but I like how minimal both designs are. For the Samsung A56, the model I have in the studio has a color that Samsung is calling light gray, which really resembles white. And I like the contrast between the white and the black colors. When the phone is completely turned off, the front is black with a gray outline, the sides are light gray, and the back is white, but they said it's light gray, but it's white. The sides of the phone have a textured feel resembling metal rather than being completely smooth. And at the top of the phone, you'll find a microphone and an IR blaster. The left side of the phone is left bare, while the right side of the phone features the volume button and the power button. The right side of the phone, where we have the buttons, is really just a ridge. So it's the raised part of the flat surface on the right side of the phone that has the buttons and the volume rocker. It will be very easy to pick this up in dark and figure out where things are, and it's just smooth in the hand. The bottom of the phone features a SIM card tray, which is a dual nano SIM configuration with no external memory card slot, 2 microphones, a USB Type-C charging port, and a speaker. The front of the phone has decent bezels and a punch hole camera, and the back of the phone has the minimal design with a triple camera setup and an LED light to the right side. Interestingly, the camera appears detachable, almost as if it's held in place by magnets, making it seem like it would snap back into position if you pull it away, but no. Do not do that. It is not magnetic. Do not accidentally or deliberately remove your camera bump. Placing the A56 and A36 side by side, one might easily mistake one for the other. Like maybe this is just another model of the A56 or this is another model of the A36. However, there are subtle details that Samsung has added to differentiate the two. The first is the frame around the A36. It's very smooth, and it has this matte-like finish, while the A56 of course has a rougher texture. There are also these antennas that are around the A56 and none of them are present on the A36. Another difference is in the camera design. Looking at the two, you can easily see the similarities, but if you take a closer look, you see that the camera setup on the A36 is smooth under a glass, and the 3 cameras are under the glass here covering them. And the A56 on the other hand has a cutout or a circular separation for each camera. Lastly, there's a very tiny difference, and I don't know if you can tell. Yes, the mic and the IR blaster on the A56 are slightly bigger than the A36. It's very subtle, but the difference is there. They almost go unnoticed if you look at them, but other than these differences, they are really mostly the same, except for some of the specs and some other things, which we'll talk about in a bit. Both the A56 and the A36 feel very light in the hand, and they also feel sturdy. The sort of silver frame around these phones are made of metal, while the glass on the front and back are made of Corning's Gorilla Glass Victus Plus. They are also both IP67 rated, which is best for dust and water resistance, so that is actually good. The metal frame around the phones are designed to withstand more than just a few accidental drops. In the worst case scenario, it might get a dent or some scratches, but overall, the phone should remain just fine. However, it's still a good idea to use a screen protector and a phone case for extra protection with your phones. A phone case will help prevent against even fingerprint smudges on the back, which are very evident. But really, get a case on your phone, get a screen protector. Both the A56 and A36 feature a 6.7-inch Super AMOLED display. Of course, AMOLED is good, but what makes Super AMOLED different or better? The difference is more or less being a specific kind of AMOLED where the touchscreen layer is built right into the screen itself. Samsung makes these displays, and it means that it can be thinner and brighter and better and super responsive, and it really is that. Anyway, speaking of brightness in the sun, these phones have a high brightness mode or HBM, which is really helpful when you're outside, and it can also hit a peak brightness of 1900 nits. The high brightness mode is designed to give you that extra brightness boost temporarily. The way this should work is when you're outside in the sun, the screen brightness should automatically adjust to the highest level and improve your visibility. So even if you attempt to lower it, it will quickly go back up to the brightest. And of course, you can turn that off in the setting with the adaptive brightness. Additionally, they both feature a refresh rate of up to 120 Hz, including an on-screen fingerprint reader. You have stereo speakers on both these phones, of course, one at the bottom and another at the top, around where the screen touches the top of the phone. And the sound quality watching movies or during gameplay isn't bad at all. It came out pretty decent, and I pretty much enjoyed gaming on here. Take a listen.
Enemy down.
Saved since I got it. In this video, I'll be sharing my thoughts on the last couple of months using this inverter, and also this is a sound quality test from the Samsung Galaxy A56 5G, and this is from the A36 5G. Let's talk cameras, and let's start with the A56. I'll start with the selfie camera here, which is a 12 megapixel selfie camera that performs decently even in low light conditions. Although you may notice some noise when you're taking pictures, the final image with night mode turned on ends up looking clearer and sharper. In good lighting, the selfies maintain natural skin tone and colors. Just as there's live photos with the iPhones, there's also a motion picture option that takes an image but also takes a video on the back end at once, creating an image that really is a cover image, but also when you click on it, it can play as a video afterwards. The selfie camera can also shoot 4K at 30 frames per second, which is what you're seeing right now. This is not a common feature for many mid-range phones, but let me know what you guys think about this video quality as well as the sound quality in the comments below. In the lower right corner of the camera interface, you find these square dots that expand into additional settings. From there, you can enable the features you want. If you select the settings button, you'll be redirected to more options where you can customize things to your taste, including turning on Snapchat lenses, which allow you to use Snapchat filters without having to open the Snapchat app. I think it's pretty cool that you can use Snapchat filters on your camera app, but is this something that you would find useful? Let me know in the comments. Now let's discuss the triple camera setup on the back. The first one is a 12 megapixel ultra wide one, which captures images at 0.5x for wider shots. The main camera is a 50 megapixel wide camera capable of capturing images at standard to zoom levels from 1x up to 10x. Additionally, for macro photography, there's a 5 megapixel macro camera that automatically pops up when it detects that you're trying to take a close-up shot. For both images and videos taken by the camera, they are of good quality, the colors appear naturally vibrant, and they are even more saturated than those captured by the selfie camera. Overall, the results are quite clear and impressive. For video, it's also capable of shooting 4K at 30 frames per second with the rear camera, and for full HD, you get 60 frames per second, which I think is really impressive for a mid-range phone as well. It also features super steady mode, which helps to stabilize videos when filming with shaky hands. This is a comparison between the stabilized and unstabilized video. That being said, you can find many of these features on the A36. The A36 and the A56 have the same selfie cameras, but let's take a look at the differences in the camera section. The only difference with the camera sensor is that the ultra-wide camera on the A56 is 12 megapixels as we mentioned, but on the A36 is 8 megapixels, the ultra-wide. The other difference you notice in the images that are not so far apart is that the A36 seems to appear a little more saturated and brighter, while the images on the A56 seem to preserve the natural colors more. Another difference is in the camera options. The Samsung A36 has a feature called Super Slow-Mo, while the A56 has just slow motion. The A56 also has this dual recording feature that is not available on the A36, sadly. I like the dual recording on the A56 because you can of course switch between cameras. You can even split the screen, and you can save both the front and the rear cameras videos that are recording simultaneously. You can save them separately, which I think is very functional, especially if you're using it to create content. A new feature Samsung launched with these phones is their One UI 7, of course. It's pretty easy to use and navigate around. Samsung also has a feature called Circle to Search, and if you see an image on your screen and you want to know what that image is or where to find it with a simple image search on Google, you can simply circle it and it will provide you information about what you're seeing or give you results with similar images to what you're seeing. So this is how it works. You will press the home button right there and your whole page will light up, and then you circle the area that you want to search, the part of the image that you want to search, and it will bring out results from Google. And with AI, it can actually give you like an overview of what you circled. Other features include edit suggestions, which gives you suggestions for improving the quality of your images. There's also the object eraser tool designed to remove any unwanted objects or subjects from your pictures, and it has this best face feature, which you can easily fix images with a closed eye or an unwanted expression with just a few adjustments. But that's not all. There will also be up to 6 generations of software updates that Samsung is promising, so watch out for that. It's really cool to have features that would normally require external solutions integrated into your phone, all just available in one single glass slab right here. The Samsung A56 is powered by an octa-core Exynos 1580 chipset. It's Samsung's very own chipset, found in their mid-range phones. It's a pretty powerful processor, and it also supports 5G, which is a good plus. We played Call of Duty on this phone for about an hour, and while it got warm to the touch, it quickly got cool again. Now, during the gameplay, there wasn't any lag at all, and that is a very good thing. The graphics were quite good, and the 120Hz refresh rate made every touch and every moment feel very responsive. The A36, on the other hand, uses Qualcomm Snapdragon 6 Gen 3 processor. It's also an octa-core processor, and it's also classified as a mid-range processor, but it can do a lot with AI processing, and it also features a more modern GPU. In contrast, the Exynos 1580 chipset on here is a newer generation CPU with more powerful cores. So while the A56 is expected to deliver better graphics performance, the A36 is also expected to deliver better image processing, AI capabilities, and a couple of other things. Both these phones have impressive battery life. They come equipped with a 5000 mAh battery, and during a battery draining test that we concluded in the office, the phones lasted nearly the entire day before draining to 0%, even with heavy usage throughout the day. Both devices took 1 hour and 20 minutes to fully charge from 0%. While the charging results varied at different times, they ultimately measured up to the same charging time, to the same charging speed, and here's the result of that. Since these phones do not come with a charging brick in the box, I highly recommend getting maybe a 100 watts or higher charging brick. In the studio, we used a 180 watt charger to achieve the charging speed that we did to arrive at the same charging time. So you might want something that strong, or you might just want to get a good old 100 watt charger. The price of the A56 varies based on the storage option that you choose, starting at 525,000 naira for the base model with 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage. If you want the 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage, you want to prepare to shell out 577,000 naira. And for the 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gig version, 617,000 naira. For the Samsung A36, on the other hand, the base model, 6 gigs, 128 gigs, 460,000 naira, or 536,000 naira for the 8 gig and 256 gig variant. Now, keep in mind that these prices may change based on the time you decide to buy any of these phones, because we don't know what the exchange rate will be tomorrow. So these devices are, those are the prices that we have. Those are the recommended retail prices for these phones. Are these devices worth the price tag? Are these devices something that you would like to get or buy or recommend? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I really like the A56, and I think it's a really good, well-built phone, and I don't mind using something like this. But let me know what you guys think in the comments.